everybody, Soul and Shine All here coming to you with thoughts for the weekend for this Friday, March 29th, 2013. Well, looking around, we see that the economy's still not getting better. Alright, we got jobless claims, came out yesterday, 357,000. You know, they had been slipping down, kind of back up, basically in this just quagmire where the numbers really don't change. It seems to just average right around the 350 mark for the past year, a little over a year. So, not a lot's getting better there. Nothing too surprising, I think, for most people out there. One of the things, though, that going on with the economy, you see what was been happening in Cyprus. I talked about that a little bit recently in the government playbook video. But there may be some good that might come out of this. Depends on how you look at it. You know, it could be a bad thing, could be a good thing. But it might be the beginning of the end for the fractional reserve banking system. Now, this is something that caught on when the government started stepping in and insuring accounts and, you know, taking us off the gold standard and such, where banks are allowed to lend out more than they actually have on reserve. It's kind of a funny system where, you know, for every, say, $10 somebody deposits at the bank, they lend 100. Sounds kind of crazy, but that's just the system that we've been operating under. And this is where we've gotten into all the trouble. If you want to talk about the root problem, the Federal Reserve getting involved, basically extending free money out to the banks, these institutions, to be able to lend out even more money than they have in deposit. They say, well, you know, everyone's going to leave their money in the bank, right? So on paper, they got a lot of deposits, but they'll go ahead and just say, well, we figure not many people are ever going to default, so we'll just have to say that, you know, you got to keep 10 or 20% of actual money in the bank for all the loans that you put out there. As we saw with the financial collapse in 2007, though, as more and more loans start defaulting for homes and other large items, that the banks just started collapsing themselves, because now there suddenly was a credit crisis, and as we see in Cyprus, when the cash runs out, you know, the banks have to shut their doors. And there's just no money to go around for anybody for just normal everyday things. So, you know, this is a big problem with the fractional reserve banking system. So it's a good thing that this is finally starting to maybe start to come apart. We'll have to keep an eye on it and keep watching it, because who's going to keep their money in a bank if there's a fractional reserve system? People are going to gravitate towards more secure banks because they don't want to lose their deposits, right? So they're going to try to look for banks that have either a zero fractional reserve system, where it's just 100% loan to deposit ratio, or something a little bit, you know, less risky, you know, an 80 or 90% deposit to loan ratio. So anyway, something to keep an eye on. Maybe it's a start of something else. Don't say bitcoins. I know there's some people out there, bitcoins. Here's the problem with bitcoins, and I kind of got into little comments in the last video. Somebody said, oh, you need to go to bitcoins, you know, no central government controlling it. The problem with a electronic currency such as bitcoins, true, it is not controlled by a government. Until the governments decide to stand up and say, we can't allow this, it doesn't give us control, and they shut down the internet. How do you get access to your little digital ones and zeros when the electronic system that they trade on is gone? You can't carry around those digital dollars, those dead presidents, those ducats. You can't put them in your pocket. You can't carry them around. You know, people like to see things. They like to hold it in their hand. It's been true since the dawn of man, okay? Without something physical to hold in your hand and trade for whatever it is, what other good or services you're looking for, it's just not going to work. It might be a novelty. It works now, just like PayPal and things like that work now. But in the long run, if there's a large coronal mass ejection from the sun, or an EMP, you know, North Korea, digital money is not going to be any good anymore. So anyway, there's just other things you got to think about. You know, talked about a little bit in the video. You know, great to keep other things on hand for barter. You know, because barter is something that's worked for ages. Still works today as it worked thousands of years ago. If you have something somebody else wants, in whatever quantity, you can start bartering it and trading it. You don't need money. You don't need digital money. You just have to have something that somebody else wants. Pure and simple. Speaking of North Korea, apparently we're about to get bombed. That's right, North Korea has been ratcheting up the rhetoric for the last few weeks. You know, after their nuclear test they did, sanctions were more sanctions put into effect because those work so well. And now they've just been really ramping it up. This new leader they have, Kim Jong-un, he's the guy is certifiably crazy, but that goes beside the point, right? Yeah, apparently, you know, they put out some pictures of him and his generals planning to attack the West and South Korea for their aggression against him. And of course, behind him is all the secret war planning stuff, where he's got maps depicting him bombing, I guess, Washington, D.C., L.A., and Austin, Texas. I don't know what you're doing, Austin. I mean, I can understand bombing D.C. I can even understand bombing Los Angeles, even though I'm 80 miles south. Maybe they'll bomb the northern end of Los Angeles. But it just goes to show you that you can't be too sure what's going on in this world. North Korea, just crazy. You know, we've been running tests over there with B-52s and B-2 stealth bombers. So I can understand they're a little bit anxious about what's going on. I mean, I don't know what he's worried about. It's not like our country would ever just start a war without being provoked or attacked first. But that's beside the point. So one of the things that really is interesting to me is what's been going on in Mexico over the last 10 years or so, a little bit longer. See, Mexico passed really stringent gun control laws and basically took away all the guns from their citizens. This was in response to the native peoples that lived in Mexico, the Mayan Indians, if you will, the people that the Mexican government fought against for years to try to bring them around to the Mexican way of life, and they fought and resisted for as long as they could. But anyway, I digress. So what we saw was once the guns were removed, this vacuum needed to be filled. The cartels moved in, they took over. They're the ones with the guns and the control. They're running the drugs through, killing people like crazy. I mean, tens of thousands of people killed every year, though they only report, you know, in the low 10,000s or so. I mean, it's still ridiculous. That's amazing, the death and mayhem going on just across the border from our country. It was only a matter of time before the Mexican people said enough is enough. They finally realized that their government cannot protect them. There is no safety there. There's no safety the government can provide for you, okay? They can't protect you like you can protect yourself. So, in response to that, we have these vigilante forces that have started up. Basically your militias, if you will. So thousands of these armed vigilantes have taken over the Mexican town of Tierra, Colorado, and they've arrested the police chief and other people in the town they felt were assisting the cartels that were corrupt, and they've taken over. They're running around, not running around, but they march down the street. They've set up checkpoints. They're armed. They're just regular citizens, residents who want to, they're tired of it. They're tired of living in fear and of having their people killed. Their leader, if you will, the leader of their group, spokesperson for their group, was killed this last week and his body dumped in the street of a nearby town. So that's it. They've had enough. They're kicking out the corrupt cops, politicians, the drug runners, traffickers, kidnappers, and they want law and order, and they're going to take it themselves. And that's the bottom line. Nobody protects you like you have to protect yourself. You have sole responsibility for the protection of you and your family. So unless you and your neighbors and other like-minded people get together, the government will provide you some false security, and then any thug can run in, and that's when the gangs take over. So, you know, I applaud these residents of this town and from other towns in that state to be able to rise up and protect themselves. So while the Senate gets ready to debate the gun control laws that they've been talking about and Feinstein's been trying to push and everything for the last couple months now, ever since the Sandy Hook shooting, you know, some people just can't wait. Obama has used executive order to go ahead and order the Justice Department to start stepping up background checks and opening up the NICS system, NICS system, for everyone else to be using it and to expand its ability to reach into more information. You know, it's one thing about this president that never astonished me too much was his ability to just use executive order to do whatever he wants. It's not like he's going to be stopped by, you know, measly little things like Supreme Courts or, you know, Congress. He'll just do what he wants, and Eric Holder will be right there backing him up and trying to push it through. You know, it's kind of curious because you got Bloomberg out there, Mayor Bloomberg, who just can't allow people to run around with guns or big gulps. I know big gulps aren't banned, just all his other large sodas, because, you know, 7-Eleven contributes to his campaign, I guess. But he's out there spending millions of dollars to run anti-gun ads against people running for office in other states. And, you know, it's just amazing how much money is being wasted, or spent, I should say, when we're in such a dire situation. You know, sequesters going on, and we've got to cut funding from our military, you know, the thing that's supposed to protect us from outside enemies, so we can spend money to take away the guns from people on the inside, the good guys. Anyway, I digress. You know, the Obama administration keeps using executive power to try and change things. I think it's time that Congress start looking at ways to decrease and minimize the use of executive power. People need to start realizing that the president doesn't have this kind. He's not a dictator. It's not his right to keep putting through executive orders and just doing whatever he wants against laws that are in place. These things need to be checked. We don't have a backbone in the Senate or the House of Representatives that will actually check him. Not like the Supreme Court's going to stop him. That's a little too moderate, borderline liberal as it is. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I guess it's just a matter of just everyday citizens reporting it and just keep putting it out there and putting it out there, putting it out there. It's not like the mainstream media talks about these things, so we got to talk about it ourselves. You know, I ran across a cool story. You remember that Doomsday prepper, Tim Ralston, the guy who was hacking away at the... he had a pig hanging from his back trellis in his backyard, and he had that tool he made. It was like a shovel and an axe, and he used it and he was hacking the pig in half. You know, the same guy that took his kids out shooting and then shot himself in the thumb and passed out there? Yeah, that guy. So you're with me, you remember him. Well, he's actually created something kind of cool. And this is the Excalibur gun adapter system. You really got to check this out. I'll attach the story down below. You know, it is really kind of a very cool survival tool. I'd like to see some further testing with this. Safety of it, it seems cool. Seems like there could possibly potentially be some issues. But I don't know. I think you should check it out. It definitely looks like a really cool product. Something that every prepper should have, I would think. I mean, it makes sense. You know, that debate's been going on for a long time about which gun, which caliber, what do you carry. This system, this Excalibur system, uses a break shotgun, 12 gauge, and basically the inserts all insert into the 12 gauge barrel, and you can fire any type of round from a 22 round all the way up to a 7.62, 308, whatever you want, you know, anything in between. And it's kind of a cool system. I think you'd really be impressed with it. Check out the video. It seems like a great idea. Whether or not it does work out for the best, you know, we'll see. US Freedom 22, why don't you go ahead and grab yourself a set and do some reviews on it. I'd love to see it. Some of us will have to wait till it's more proven and we can find some more disposable funds. So anyway, that's all I got for this week. Make sure you check out the video of the week listed down below. You know Jim Carey, the comedian, actor, the guy that likes to talk out of his ass. He put out a video early this week, and yeah, there's a great spoof video put out. It's pretty cool. Yeah, poking fun right back at Jim Carrey and the hypocrisy that is these people in Hollywood, these liberals that love to spout off about the environment and, you know, guns, and yet they just make movies where they're going out there and just destroying things and shooting people, and hypocrisy never ceases to amaze me. But anyway, check it out. You might get a chuckle out of it. Anyway, that's all I've got for this weekend. I want you all to focus on what you're going to do to build up your preps and keep an eye on what's going on in the world and the economy and things like that, because what may not look so bad in the U.S. right here, because the mainstream media and the government tells you everything's great, keep an eye on what's going on in the rest of the world, Eurozone and other places, because if things can go bad there and they get worse, pretty soon it's going to bleed over to here no matter what. The contagion will spread. Anyway, take care, have fun with your family, do a video response, comment, rate, subscribe, whatever, all that good stuff. And y'all take care. SOS out.